Imagine this. Thousands of years ago, snow like this was constant. Ice sheets covered Europe and Siberia, thick and relentless. Humans thrived against all odds in this world. They hunted mammoths, they lived with nature, they survived. How? That's the story we're telling today. It's hard to imagine now, but for the mammoth hunters of the Ice Age, fat was as precious as gold. No, they didn't use it for frying potatoes or baking pastries. For them, fat was survival, adaptability, and even comfort. Rendered into oil, fat fueled the lamps that illuminated their shelters on long winter nights. These lamps were not fancy, just stone bowls or animal skulls filled with fat and a moss wick, but they turned caves into homes. The flickering light brought a sense of safety, chasing away the predators that lurked in the darkness. And fat just wasn't for fire. Mixed with ash, it became soap. A crude soap, yes, but one that saved lives by keeping infections at bay and ensuring hands were clean after butchering. In a world without antibiotics, this simple innovation could mean the difference between life and death. Hygiene was not a luxury, it was survival. Imagine a single successful hunt. The meat kept you fed, the fat lit your home, and the leftovers cleaned your tools and skin, multitasking at its finest. Fat was not just useful, it was sacred. Every drop was cherished because it was the key to enduring the harshest conditions on Earth. It might seem primitive to us now, but their ingenuity and respect for resources offer a powerful lesson. Make the most of what you have and never take it for granted. The mammoth hunters roamed Europe and Siberia tens of thousands of years ago, during the last ice age, a time when glaciers dominated the northern hemisphere. This period, known as the Upper Paleolithic, stretched from around 40,000 to 10,000 years ago. Ice sheets, in places over 3 kilometers thick, blanketed much of northern Europe and Siberia, creating a barren, frozen landscape. The glaciers extended as far south as northern Germany, Poland, and southern England, stopping short of regions like Paris, which remained ice-free, but still bitterly cold. Vast tundras and steppes replaced forests across these ice-free areas, creating a harsh environment of permafrost and sparse vegetation. It was on these fringes, shaped by tundra winds and icy expanses, that resilient communities thrived. Their survival a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability. This was their home. No farms, no cities, just open land. They relied on their instincts, their tools, and each other. Imagine knowing every plant you see, edible, medicinal, and useful. Every resource mattered. Nothing was wasted. Fat from animals was fuel, light, soap, and survival. In the Ice Age, time moved to the rhythm of the seasons. Summers were brief, a fleeting window of warmth and abundance. For the mammoth hunters, these months weren't a break, but a deadline. Every day mattered. Every task had to contribute to the ultimate goal, survival through the winter. In the vast treeless tundra of the Ice Age, mammoth hunters showed remarkable ingenuity when it came to building shelters. With no forest to supply timber, they turned to the bones of the great mammoths. These were often found along river banks, remnants of natural deaths or past hunts. Large bones like ribs and tusks formed the structural framework, creating sturdy walls and roof supports. To insulate their shelters against the relentless cold, they used cob, a mixture of clay, sand, and straw, to fill the gaps between the bones. This natural material provided both stability and protection from icy winds. The shelters were often semi-subterranean, with floors dug into the earth for added warmth. Even fuel for fires required creativity. In the absence of trees, bones became the primary source of fuel. When dried, bones burned long and hot, helping to keep their homes warm and their food cooked. Every resource was utilized to its fullest in this harsh environment, a testament to the resourcefulness of the mammoth hunters. Imagine walking through nature, and with every step, your trained eye recognizes the plants around you, their medicinal properties, nutritional value, and hidden uses. Each leaf, berry, or root tells a story of survival and healing. This knowledge is not from books or apps. It's from living closely with the land, understanding its rhythms, and respecting its gifts. It is the wisdom of a life deeply connected to nature. Berries, nuts, and roots were carefully foraged, often from memory passed down through generations. The sweet berries grow near the river bend. The nut trees bloom just past the rocky hill. Foraging was not aimless wandering. It was strategic, deliberate, and often communal. The plants they gathered were dried and stored to last the cold months ahead. Fishing was another critical task. With hand-woven nets or sharpened bone spears, they harvested rivers teeming with trout and salmon. Fish were smoked and packed away, their oils adding to the precious reserves that would sustain the group when the rivers froze solid. And then came the hunt. The mammoth hunt wasn't just a spectacle, it was the pinnacle of survival strategy. A single mammoth could feed the entire group for months, provide hides for clothing and shelter, and bones for tools and weapons. But the hunt was perilous. Coordinated teamwork, sharp tools, and intimate knowledge of the animal's behavior were essential. Success depended on a wide range of skills honed over generations of practice and learning. Hunters needed to craft reliable weapons from spears, with finely knapped flint tips, to durable atlatls for greater range and power. Tracking was a vital skill. Reading spoor, deciphering faint footprints in frozen soil, and understanding subtle signs like broken vegetation or disturbed snow. Equally important was an ability to interpret the weather, predicting shifts that could mean either opportunity or disaster. Every hunter understood their prey deeply, its migration patterns, feeding habits, and even its likely reaction to human presence. Failure to anticipate an animal's behavior could mean not just a failed hunt, but injury or death. Yet, these challenges were met with resilience and teamwork, as each member of the group played a role, from tracking and flushing out the prey to delivering the final blow. The stakes were high, and survival demanded nothing less than mastery of these essential skills. Preservation was as much an art as it was a science. Meat was sliced thin and dried in the sun, fat sealed in stomachs or animal skins, and roots stored in pits dug into the cool earth. For the mammoth hunters, preparation was everything. They couldn't afford to waste a single morsel, or miss a single opportunity. Their motto might have well have been, "Winter is always coming." Winter was harsh, deadly, but not lifeless. Around fires like this, they found warmth and hope. They shared stories of hunts, lessons for survival. Cave walls carried their art, their dreams, their legacy. Each stitch in their clothing, every carving, it showed they thrived. Not just survived, thrived with creativity and connection. In the Ice Age, the great herds roamed freely across the tundra, shaping the landscape as they moved. Mammoths, reindeer, and bison were more than just prey. They were the architects of an entire ecosystem. Picture a herd of mammoths moving across the tundra. Their massive hooves churn the soil, aerating it for new growth. Seeds cling to their fur, traveling hundreds of miles before falling to the ground to sprout. And their droppings? The perfect fertilizer, nourishing the land as they passed through. The result was a rich, dynamic ecosystem, a patchwork of grasslands, forests, and tundra, all teeming with life. These herds didn't just survive the land, they transformed it. Mammoths, reindeer, and bison aerated the soil with their hooves, fertilized it with their droppings, and spread seeds clinging to their fur. Their migrations created thriving ecosystems of tundras, grasslands, and forests, all interconnected and balanced. But they weren't the only architects of the land. Beavers were crucial too. Their dams turned streams into wetlands, providing habitats for countless species. Wetlands also acted as natural sponges, storing water, preventing erosion, and supporting a rich diversity of plants and animals. Without beavers, landscapes become drier, streams erode their banks, and ecosystems unravel. They were as vital to balance as the great herds. Now think of modern agriculture. The open, connected landscapes of the past have been divided by fences. Great herds no longer roam freely, and beaver populations have dwindled. This loss of movement and connection has brought consequences. Soil that struggles to stay fertile, declining biodiversity, and ecosystems on the brink. The mammoth hunters were part of this system, not separate from it. They followed the herds, adapting their movements to the animals' migrations. This wasn't just about survival, it was about balance. The hunters took only what they needed, ensuring that the herds could continue their vital work. It was a partnership, not dominance. Now compare that to modern agriculture. The vast open landscapes of the past have been divided by fences and carved into monoculture fields. The natural migrations of animals are gone, replaced by factory farms and chemical fertilizers. The result? Soil that struggles to stay fertile, biodiversity in decline, and ecosystems out of balance. The mammoth hunters understood something we often forget. Nature doesn't need to be controlled, it needs to be respected. Their way of life was a testament to the power of harmony, and it's a lesson we do well to remember. the snow melted, they gathered. Tribes came together, they traded, they danced. Young hunters showed their skills and new couples formed. These weren't just meetings, they were life's highlights. A reminder that even in the Ice Age, people celebrated. Summer. A rare time when the tundra thawed, rivers flowed freely, and the sun hung in the sky for hours on end. For the mammoth hunters, summer wasn't just a time of work. It was a time of joy, connection, and celebration. After months of isolation, tribes came together in vibrant gatherings. These weren't just random meetings. They were planned, anticipated, and essential to the social fabric of their world. Imagine a wide open meadow by a river, dotted with tents and bustling with activity. Smoke rises from cooking fires, the air hums with laughter and conversation, and the scents of roasting meat and fresh berries mingle in the breeze. Trade was a cornerstone of these gatherings. One tribe might bring surplus fish, another finely crafted tools, and another beautifully tanned hides. Bartering wasn't just about goods, it was about stories, relationships, and trust. A trade might start with a knife, but end with shared knowledge. How to track game, how to treat a wound, how to navigate by the stars. For the young, these gatherings were a time of discovery and romance. Courtship in the Ice Age was a lively affair. Young men displayed their skills, throwing spears, crafting tools, or even weaving elaborate stories to impress potential partners. Young women adorned themselves with beadwork, necklaces, and colorful garments, each piece a testament to their creativity and skill. It wasn't all that different from today, just with fewer filters and more firelight. But perhaps the most memorable part of these gatherings was the celebration. Music filled the air, played on bone flutes and drums made of hide. People danced, their movements echoing the rhythms of the natural world they lived in. These moments weren't just about fun, they were about unity. They reminded everyone that even in the harshest of worlds, there was beauty, community, and joy. Adding to this sense of connection were groups of individuals who had developed unique skills in music, theater, and comedy. These performers, often storytellers and entertainers, traveled from tribe to tribe, bringing not just entertainment, but also news, rumors, and fresh perspectives from distant lands. Their presence was highly valued, and they were usually warmly invited to winter with any tribe, sharing food and resources as they contributed to the group's morale. With their songs, dramatic tales, and humorous performances, they provided relief from the monotony of survival, fostering laughter and wonder during the long, cold winters. Their stories wove tribes together, spreading knowledge, history, and sometimes a little exaggeration. In a world of uncertainty, these traveling performers were a bridge between communities, reminding everyone of the shared human experience and the enduring power of joy and creativity. Winter in the Ice Age was relentless. The land froze, the days shortened, and the cold seeped into every corner. But for the mammoth hunters, winter wasn't a season to endure. It was a season to create. Inside their shelters, warmed by firelight, they turned to art. Tools were carved with intricate patterns, hides were painted with symbols, and bones were fashioned into jewelry and ornaments. These weren't just decorations, they were expressions of identity, creativity, and perhaps even spirituality. Imagine the flickering fire casting shadows on cave walls as an artist etched a mammoth, its curves and lines alive with motion. Art was more than an aesthetic pursuit. It was a statement of a tribe's prosperity and stability. The ability to dedicate time and resources to intricate artwork signaled that the tribe was thriving. It showed they had enough food, shelter, and safety to allow their members the luxury of creative expression. Tunics adorned with elaborate beadwork, patterns painstakingly stitched over hundreds of hours, reflected not just craftsmanship, but also the abundance that made such efforts possible. Each tribe had its own recognizable patterns, woven or stitched into their clothing, making their identity instantly apparent to others. A single glance at a tunic or cloak could tell someone which tribe they belonged to, where they came from, and even their social standing within the group. These distinct designs not only strengthened internal bonds, but also communicated pride and heritage during encounters with other tribes. Their creations also conveyed status, shared stories, and honored the spirits or animals central to their lives. Art unified the tribe, serving as a physical manifestation to their collective memory and cultural identity. It was a way to leave their mark on the world, declaring, "We are here and we thrived." And then there were the stories. Around the fire, elders and traveling storytellers shared tales of great hunts, harsh winters, and close escapes. These were not just entertainment, they were lessons. Through these stories, children learned how to track animals, find edible plants, and recognize the signs of an approaching storm. The stories passed down not just knowledge, but values, courage, teamwork, and respect for the land. But it wasn't all serious. Humor played a big role in these gatherings. An elder might recount a hunt gone hilariously wrong, a spear missing its mark, or a mammoth outsmarting the hunters. So there were 5 of us, creeping up on this mammoth. I'm in position, ready to throw my spear, when all of a sudden, it lets out the loudest sneeze I've ever heard. Startled, I panicked and threw my spear right into the fold of Gorn's fur tunic. Instead of the mammoth, Gorn screams, the mammoth runs off, and we're left with no dinner. And Gorn stomping back to camp, yelling, "Next time, I'm hunting berries." The laughter that followed wasn't just about the missed opportunity. It was a reminder that even in the coldest, darkest times, joy and a little self-deprecating humor could always be found. For the mammoth hunters, waste wasn't an option, it was a failure. In their world, every resource was precious, and every part of an animal had a purpose. A single mammoth could provide food, clothing, shelter, and tools. The hide became garments or tents. The bones turned into needles and weapons, and even the sinews were used as thread. Nothing was left behind. Even scraps had value. Bones were boiled to extract nutrients for broth, tendons were woven into fishing nets, and leftover fat became fuel for lamps. This wasn't just practicality, it was respect. Every resource was treated as a gift, and nothing was taken for granted. Imagine if we lived this way today. Instead of discarding scraps of food or tossing broken items, we found ways to use them, repair them, or share them. The mammoth hunters didn't have a word for sustainability. They simply lived it.
Their story isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. They lived with nature, not against it. What can we learn from them? How can we honor their wisdom? Let's think about that together.
The mammoth hunters lived in a world of abundance, not because they had more, but because they needed less. They understood balance, respect, and resilience in a way that modern society often struggles to replicate. Their survival depended on work with the land, not against it, and taking only what they needed. In contrast, modern agriculture has brought incredible advancements, but also significant challenges. Soil erosion, deforestation, and the loss of biodiversity. Our systems prioritize short-term gains over long-term sustainability, and the balance that sustained our ancestors has been replaced by overproduction and waste. But the lessons of the mammoth hunters endure. They remind us that life isn't about domination. It's about partnership. By working with the land, respecting its limits, and embracing its abundance, we can build a future that honors the past. Their story isn't just about surviving the Ice Age. It's about thriving in harmony with the natural world. It's a blueprint for living, not just on Earth, but with it. And maybe, just maybe, their wisdom can guide us back to a way of life that's not just sustainable, but deeply fulfilling. Now is the time to learn from the resilience and wisdom. Look at the choices we make today and ask yourself, are we living in harmony with our planet or merely taking from it? Together, we can adopt their mindset, respecting the resources we have, valuing our connections, and ensuring a future for generations to come. The lessons of the past are clear. It's up to us to act on them. Let's start building that future today. I would love to hear your thoughts and perspectives. What resonates with you the most about the lives of the mammoth hunters? Is it their resourcefulness, their connection to nature, or perhaps their sense of community and creativity? Let me know in the comments. What lessons do you think we can learn from them that apply to modern life? Do you feel we've lost something valuable in our fast-paced modern world? Or, if you had lived in the Ice Age, what role do you think you'd have played? Hunter, artist, storyteller, or maybe the one telling the jokes around the fire? Your insights make this journey through history even more meaningful. So let's keep the conversation going. Drop your thoughts below, and let's imagine what we can learn together. Thanks for watching.